Your Excellency, sir.
Asante sana. Please be seated. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. And a Happy New Year to all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, the children of Kenya, let me say that not only am I pleased, but actually very honored to join you this morning to flag off these trucks that will be ferrying across the country our core course books for primary and secondary education right across the country. And this is one of the most important components of the comprehensive reform program, as Fred has mentioned, that we are implementing in the education sector. We are going to reform education because we are convinced that it is education that is the greatest equalizer in any nation. Ladies and gentlemen, my administration has focused on initiatives that will ensure that every Kenyan child has access to quality education, and so that they can acquire appropriate skills and knowledge that make our country globally competitive. Over the last few years, we have implemented significant reforms. The waiver, for example, of examination fees for all learners in primary and secondary schools, enhanced capitation for secondary and primary school learners in public schools, the integration of ICT in teaching and learning, like the digital literacy program and computers for secondary schools. And this term, we continue that path of radical improvement. 100% transition from primary to secondary for all learners is now a reality with the start of our free secondary education for day schools. The provision of medical care for all our children in secondary schools through the National Hospital Insurance Fund, I believe, will also bring relief to many families and is also in line with my Big Four agenda. Today, we flag off the provision of core course books. This is the start of an exercise that will ensure a 1-to-1 textbook ratio. This initiative, while costing the government Kenya shilling 7.5 billion, has also realized a saving of 13.8 billion shillings. As I have been informed, the cost of textbooks has significantly reduced, as we were just told here, and hence this should benefit parents and guardians alike. The cost-effective and efficient measures have also assured that every student in the target group will have the required core textbooks. And I'm happy to note that with a one core coursebook policy, private schools, and even those run by faith-based organizations should, and the publishers who are here, tafadhali tukubaliane, mmepata biashara kubwa sana, yeah? Kutoka serikali. There is no reason why you cannot give the private schools the books and the faith-based school also at the same price. They must also be able to access at the same price that the government has accessed. And that is important. So we say that they should access the same course books at the concessionary prices enjoyed by government. In the financial year 16-17, which is just about over, my administration dedicated 6.6 billion to school infrastructure expansion and improvement, resulting in enhanced capacity of secondary schools to admit more learners this year. The investment by government in the education sector is actually immense and will continue to grow, considering the place of education and our children in the realization of our national aspirations. Our continuous positive and direct impact on the lives of all our citizens. It is critical, therefore, that all reform programs are efficiently supervised to realize our objective and to sustain their impact. It is therefore in this respect that I also direct once again the Ministry of Education to review its quality assurance systems and to put in place sustainable measures that will ensure the continuous promotion comes in. The place of a national education management information system in providing accurate data for decision-making and planning is a key determinant of how efficiently national resources can be applied for greater impact in improving learning outcomes. I therefore once again, and I know they're on course, state to the Ministry of Education that we need to fast-track the rollout of the National Education Management Information System to ensure that we have a single source of truth for all Kenyan learners that will provide quality data that is reliable, relevant, and also easily accessible. Our values and practice in public service dictate that resources dedicated to the education must be optimally utilized and accounted for. Accountability for public resources is no longer negotiable. It is an explicit requirement in our Constitution and other national laws. Our teachers, too, must also rededicate themselves to their work so that their role in bringing up youth bears fruit. School learning environment must be learner-friendly, bearing the goal that we must have high retention in schools. At least 63% of all our secondary schools learners are in the sub-county schools. And indeed, it is my expectation that the ministry will carry out its plan of prioritizing this category of schools in resource allocation, staffing, as well as in the supply of science equipment and computers for teaching and learning. Again, as we have been told today, and we have been given the update that the curriculum reform is actually on track. And I believe this is going to be the important and most important legacy of my administration. And that process is and will be as consultative as it has to be. And I encourage all of us, let us talk to one another. Let us talk to one another. And I am sure, and I have heard, and we have encouraged the minister and the ministry officials to engage. This is the dialogue we are looking for. This is the dialogue that we are looking for that will ensure that we produce a result that will be beneficial to our children and to our country and to our future. We don't need to shout at one another. We don't need to be out there in the media pretending to be experts and talking. Who are you talking to there? Sit in a room like this. Bring your ideas. There is no idea that will not be received if it is useful and fruitful for the future of our children and our nation. So, to enhance further stakeholder input, again, so that we can continue. Let us not say that stakeholder input is just here in Nairobi. I am also directing the Ministry of Interior Coordination and Coordination of National Government to ensure that our regional commissioners liaise with regional coordinators of education to convene stakeholder forums in all our regions so as to educate the public and to also hear their views on the new curriculum. Ladies and gentlemen, in spite of tremendous success by the ministry in restoring credibility to national examinations. The feedback mechanism also needs to be improved to ensure that there is full engagement, a full engagement cycle between the examiners and the teachers. And in this regard, I have also asked the Cabinet Secretary for Education to develop sustainable national examination feedback mechanisms to ensure that the chief examiner reports are shared with teachers and other stakeholders so that they act on the areas identified for improvement in the learning process. In all these reform endeavors, the seamless transition from one education level to another must be clearly outlined and facilitated. I have asked the Ministry of Education to fast-track the full implementation of the Kenya National Qualifications Framework, which we have just seen a part of here, to ensure that all learners are availed and guided on the education pathways in Kenya. As I conclude, I want to take this early opportunity to once again remind our children countrywide that they are the reason for our everyday investment in education. My administration will at all times prioritize them and you in our plans because you're also here, because you are our future and the future of this nation. Let me conclude, ladies and gentlemen, once again by congratulating all who have been part of this process to get us to this level of ensuring that we make education available to all our children. And this is critical, as I just said, because education is undoubtedly going to be the greatest equalizer. This is what will ensure that every single child in Kenya has equal opportunity to be the best that they can be because of what we will have provided them and the foundation that we shall have given them. And I think it is also important once again to reiterate that as much as we have had to put additional money to ensure that we achieve full free day secondary school, some 26 odd billion, which is what has been released already to schools. It is important for us also to note that we have achieved what we have achieved on what we are launching today without actually adding a single shilling from the taxpayer, using only the resources that were already available in the Education Ministry. In fact, when we started engaging on this issue last year, it was shocking to hear that a school book in Kenya, produced and published by you people here, was being sold in Kigali at half the price that it was being sold in Kenya, having boarded, not even in Kenya, let me just say in Nairobi, across the street from the publishing house. Meaning, friends, that we have abused our system. And I think it's time for all of us, genuinely, to say that this desire, willingness to normalcy, that it is right to do the wrong thing, has to change, my friends. It has to change. When we say we want to introduce ethics and values to our children, we may teach it in schools, but we must also practice it in order for our children to see that we live it in our lives. That we live it in our lives. And I want to be very clear from the very onset of this year that we and the changes that I am proposing to make are going to come down extremely hard on individuals and people who think that they can continue to abuse the system for their own personal gain at the expense of the nation. We have to change this culture, friends. And it must change, and that change must start with us. And those that are not willing to change, as I have always said, please feel free to step aside. There are many Kenyans able and capable of doing what you want to do, and who have the commitment and the understanding and the value system that it is not just right, it is good and just to do the right thing. Kwa hivyo jameni, sisi hatutacheka pamoja tena. Itakuwa, anyway, that's not for here. Today is a day of celebration. Today is a day of joy. Today is the day we begin the journey of ensuring that we equalize all the children of the Republic of Kenya, and that we begin a process of ensuring that we equip properly our children to take their rightful place in the world. And I believe we can do that. And that is why we say we don't have to continually put pressure on our children on the basis of their exam results. Let us get the best out of them. Every single child is different and special in their own way. And this must be our objective, to get that best out of them, whatever that best is, and to make them believe and have confidence that even if I don't have a university degree, I will be the best engineer. I will be the best carpenter. And it is also just and right to be that. There is nothing wrong with it. We don't need to punish them and make them feel guilty. If that is their talent, I'll be the best musician, the best soccer player in the world. Ours is to help them get that talent out, and let them move on. So, as I said, friends, let us do this in a consultative manner. Let us talk to each other. Let's not shout at each other. There is no master here. Yeah? All of us are equal, and I believe all of us just want one thing, the best for our children. May God bless you, and may God bless this year. Thank you very much.
Mtazamaji, hiyo hapo ni taarifa kutoka kwa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta na washikadau wengine katika sekta ya elimu ambao wanazindua vitabu vya mtaala mpya wa elimu hapa nchini. Bila shaka mtaala ambao utakuwa unashughulikia kuanzia chekechea hadi darasa la 3 hapa nchini kuanzia muhula wa kwanza huu mwaka 2018. Mtazamaji, bila shaka ni vitabu ambavyo wamezindua na zitakuwa zinaelekea katika maeneo mbalimbali hapa nchini, pembe zote za taifa la Kenya, ambako bila shaka zitakuwa zinasambazwa. Hivyo vitabu vitakuwa zinasambazwa katika shule mbalimbali, mtazamaji, tayari kwa kuanza muhula na mtaala mpya wa elimu rasmi mwaka huu 2018. Na kama alivyosema, ni baada ya mazungumzo mapana tu, ama mazungumzo kwa upana, ambapo wameweza kuunda mtaala na vile vile wakaweza pia kuchapisha vile vitabu, mtazamaji, ambavyo kwa sasa basi zimeweza kuzinduliwa rasmi na Rais Uhuru Kenyatta. Mtazamaji, kufikia hapo basi ningependa